Hello, it's Radia here with Spirit News Radio. And that you were listening to John Renburn from Sir John a Lot of Merry Englander's Music Thing and Ye Green Knights, The Lady and the Unicorn. And today we're going to be talking about Loch Ness creatures or monsters. I don't like the word monster because I don't think they are. But just to give you a bit of background, something actually happened to me personally, which I thought was rather interesting. In about 2004, I was heavily doing a lot of Tibetan meditations and different things for that, and I was instructed to do this special kind of fire breathing meditation, and so I was told to do it 4 times a day for 15 minutes. So I was getting up at 6 in the morning, doing the meditation, 6 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, and midnight, and then so doing this fire breathing meditation, sending the kundalini or chi up my spine. And after 3 weeks of this, I had this experience where this rush of energy went up my spine and exploded in my mind, in my brain. I thought was going to explode. I heard this tremendous roar, like an ocean or a lion, which later I found out was something that happens to a person. They call it the lion's roar, and when you reach a certain level of awareness. And so it's possible that something happened to me, to my brain at that time. And shortly after this, the following year, I was in the Okanagan Valley in Kelowna, BC, and I went into the water, and I was contacted by a consciousness that appeared in my mind as Ogopogo. And this consciousness was feminine, was a female. And she told me that her partner had been killed, but that there were 2 other eggs that she had laid, and she was expecting them to be born soon. And she reached out to me to see if there was some way I could help protect her babies. And this was, seriously happened to me. And so then a little while later, I heard a radio show in the Okanagan, and it was they were discussing this research of these scientists who were looking for Ogopogo. The report claimed that they found it, that it was dead, and that they were looking for further clues as to where it had been living. Later, when I went to try to find that radio show, it was not on the internet. I couldn't find it anywhere. I don't know if that's a Mandela effect thing or if that was just literally removed from public record. So that all being said, I wanted to share a little bit about the Loch Ness. Now, according to what we know, the creature was first noticed, they say, on May 2nd, 1933, by Alex Campbell, a water bailiff for Loch Ness and part-time journalist. In the Inverness Courier report said that a report by Londoner George Spicer that several weeks earlier, while they were driving around the loch, he and his wife saw the nearest approach, quote, the nearest approach to a dragon or prehistoric animal that I've ever seen in my life, unquote, trundling across the road toward the loch with an animal in its mouth. Then letters began to appear in the Courier, often anonymously claiming land or water sightings by the writer, their family or acquaintances, or remembered stories. There are, according to what I've read, a series of pictographs or stone carvings, actual stone carvings of a monster or a creature with large fins around the Loch Ness that dates back to 15,000 years ago. And now there's another report here. The earliest reports of the creature in the vicinity of Loch Ness is in the Life of St. Columba by Adomnan, written in the 6th century AD. According to Adomnan, writing about the century after events described, Irish monk St. Columba was staying in the land of the Picts with his companions when he encountered local residents burying a man by the river Ness. They explained that the man was swimming in the river when he was attacked by a water beast, which mauled him and dragged him underwater. Although they tried to rescue him in a boat, he was dead. Columba sent a follower, Luguni Moku Min, to swim across the river. The beast approached him, but Columba made the sign of the cross and said, "Go no further, do not touch the man, go back at once." And the creature stopped as if it had been pulled back with ropes and fled, and Columba's men and Picts gave him thanks for what they perceived of as a miracle. So this is pretty interesting. And getting back to what I said about the communication that came to me at that time, it certainly indicates that the creatures were sentient. The Buddhists say anything that moves is sentient. We can't always communicate with them, and I certainly didn't have experiences like that before I had that lion's roar. But it would indicate that they're intelligent, that perhaps they were, had missiles or spears or things, arrows, and the creature knew that he was going to get killed if he stayed there. Okay, so then we come across something that happened in China, and there's footage filmed by tourists in the Xinjiang province. Apparently shows a 30-foot dark object moving in the deep dark waters on Tuesday. This is in 2018. And I'm just looking for the actual date. Don't have an actual date. But a worker in the Kansas, Kanas Lake scenic spot told Pear Video that this is the first sighting of the monster in 2018. And it appears to be somewhat long, has a long tail, and looks just like Nessie. The mystery creature was supposedly found on Wolf Island in the state of Georgia by a father and son who were on a road trip. So many of these creatures are showing up all over the world. Mysterious footage shows what looks like an icy sea creature wading through the Alaska's Chena River. And last June, a bizarre photo claims to be the Loch Ness Monster's Russian cousin in a Siberian lake. Right. And then last but not least, the Ogopogo. Ogopoka, or Netaka, Salis's Nataika lake demon, is the name given to a cryptid lake monster reported to live in Lake Okanagan in British Columbia, Canada. First allegedly seen by First Nations people since the 19th century. Okay, so now let's look into the actual, how do these creatures get there? Well, according to the book Uriel's Machine by Christopher Knight and Robert Lomas, and this is a book that talks about the prehistoric technology that survived the flood, but it goes into a lot of different things. Essentially, it says, in Masonic mythology, there are many references to seven, which the authors speculate could refer to 7 commentary fragments, and these 7 commentary fragments are described in the book as hitting the earth in prehistory, causing tsunamis. Authors link this speculation to the work of geologists Edith and Alexander Tolman. Their work processes a series of meteors hitting the Earth over the last 10,000 years or before, of course, especially circa 7640 BC. And their evidence and counter evidence is discussed in the article Ptolemy's Hypothetical Bolide. The book proposes that what the authors believe to be stellar observatories, such as the first wooden Stonehenge, which I did see when I went to Britain last year, and structures in the Boyne Valley in Ireland. The authors also quote evidence from the Book of Enoch. And essentially they're saying that when all these comets came and they hit the earth, it displaced the water and the creatures in the water, and that's why we find salt lakes, interior salt lakes, and why we find sea creature fossils at the tops of mountains, and also why we find these cryptid lake creatures that are basically dinosaurs that have lived for thousands of years in these lakes, and that are generally, a lot of them, subterraneally connected. So they were able to move in and out perhaps at one time, and then the plates moved, and then they got locked. They got landlocked or waterlocked. So this is all very interesting, and I think very much that we could look at this to learn about what's really in those lakes, what's underneath. Are these creatures sentient? Can we communicate with them? And I believe it's possible. What do you think? I'd like to hear what you have to say about the matter and any further information. Next time on Mythical Creatures, we're going to look at some other stuff in history and see what we can come up with to blow your mind. You have a great day, and don't forget to keep an open mind.